Hi, welcome everybody to this week's Take Charge of Your Life discussion, where we talk about how to live healthy, live empowered, and live free. Our version of mind, uh, health, body, and soul wellness. My name is Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. Through neural conditioning and different programming, I help people to transform their lives and guide them to their true potential. And this is my partner, Roberta.
Hey everyone, I am the owner of Wake Up to Life Wellness and a holistic health practitioner. And I just live out my passion every day of helping people transform, like Tish said, in mind, body, and soul, and just really wanting people to know that they don't have to settle for a life of limitations and a life they're not proud of, but that we really want to bring people forward into their best life. So that's my passion.
Both Roberta and I trained under the same mentor, Mr. Peter Sage. And as such, we are Elite Mentorship Forum certified trainers. And we want to share a little bit about our mentor, Peter Sage. If you aren't aware who he is, he's a globally recognized motivational speaker known for his deep understanding of human behavior and self-mastery. Having spoken in over 63 countries worldwide, he's dedicated his career really to empowering individuals to achieve their highest potential through personal growth and transformational teachings. And that's one of the things that Roberta and I are also passionate about and following in his footsteps. So our agenda of our talk is to show you a little clip of his and a small 60-second lesson. And then we're going to break it down into our 3 parts, give you some tips and discussion points on your mindset, how to live empowered, your body, how to live healthier, and your soul realm in how to live absolutely free, wonderful lives.
Awesome. So our discussion for today is going to be centered around the same main topic of goals and goals reinvented from a section of our Elite Mentorship Forum program. And we're just chunking it down and giving you some tidbits of clarity. And this one today is called Dream Big, but Focus Small. And really, most people don't fail because they aim too high and miss. They really fail because they aim too low and they hit the target. So if we're just aiming small and keeping small, we're never going to live past our comfort zone and into our biggest and fullest potential. So if we're aiming high, but we don't have action, we're really just daydreaming. So we really want to talk about what it means to have a dream and get clarity, and also what to do to maintain that ongoing so we can take those steps that we need. So this week, we're going to talk about how to keep that vision big enough to inspire you, but making it small enough, the focus, to actually move you forward. So let me share.
Have you ever heard the phrase, dream big but don't live in a dream world? And really what that relates to is a lot of people that are dreamers that really don't do anything with their dreams because they have these grand ideas and next month it's another big idea, or they've had this big idea forever and really done nothing with it. Well, there's nothing wrong with dreaming, but don't live in a dream world. In other words, you need to have a vision. You need to have something that inspires you, but you dream big. You must be able to focus small. In other words, ask yourself the quality question. What is the very next step I need to take right now that would actually lead me down the path towards making this dream a reality? And a lot of people don't do that. They just stay in the dream world hoping things are going to happen. Remember, learn to ask quality questions. Dream big by all means, but focus small and ask yourself, what is the next step?
Okay, so let's start with what mindset shifts you might need in order to take this advice. We've talked in a few discussions about dreaming big, allowing yourself to discover what it is you truly want without limiting yourself at all. And we're definitely not discouraging that at all. What we need to do is take action, as Peter said there in that video. You don't want to just dream and then do nothing. Your dreams can't become reality if we don't take action. So instead of trying to figure everything out first, we're going to encourage you to just take small steps. If it helps, one of our other discussions, number 27, actually, just before this one, was about who you need to become. If we're thinking about this big dream life that we want and these incredible goals, then we're going to have to change along the way. If we were already that person, we would already live that life, right? So think about it in terms of that if you can't think of what your next steps are. What kind of habits do I need to employ? What do I need to develop or learn in order to accomplish these dreams? This is why you focus small, because we want to make sure that you get started. So break those down into the smallest thing you think you can take, like the smallest little step. It could be, start running or reading a book, or, even if it's just 10 pages, going to bed a little bit earlier, whatever it is that coincides with your dreams.
Yeah, and as you were sharing, I just was thinking about, our dreams don't have to be big, audacious, like, I want to fly to the moon or something that seems way crazy and out of reach, even though we might like to. But, I think the universe or our soul, our deeper self really just brings to my attention, at least for me, that, different things that I kind of get in touch with that matter. Like for instance, when I was depressed so much of my life, like it was a strong, deep desire to not be depressed and not be anxious. Like I didn't want to leave that vision of myself for my kids. And I wanted to participate in life, not just look at it from the outside and barely get through it, like surviving, but never participating. So that really became like a dream that was there, even without my really thinking about it as a dream. It was just like such a strong, strong desire. And it was inspiring enough because I didn't want to stay where I was at. And so that innate inspiration literally, compelled me to take steps. First, the one thing that really propelled me forward was the 12-step work that I did. And then it was, getting into Peter Sage's work, and I'm doing some continued work in different areas, but I will be drawn to certain things. And if I'd have given up on that and said, oh, I'll just always be depressed, nothing will ever help me, I would have never taken this journey, so sometimes knowing that our dreams don't have to be like crazy, seemingly out of control, but it's just something that's the next right thing for us to have a better life. And I guess a bigger dream was for me to work in the holistic health field, but actually it was originally to heal myself, knowing that that was the path that would heal me. And then, wow, I could do this and help others. And taking those steps, like Tish was saying, one step at a time. I would go to one training at a time in Florida. I would buy one plane ticket at a time. I would, go down there and spend one session down there at a time, going through this intense training. And then I'd come back and I'd be like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And then it's like, oh, then they'd be prompting me, the people in charge of the program. They say, okay, when are you coming down next? And then, oh no, I got to make another decision. I got to click that mouse and order another plane ticket and, spend that money. And it was just one step at a time. But, because it was so inspired from within, it was such a deep calling that I just kept doing that next step. And 13 years later, I'm still on that journey and have healed myself and have a very, capable way of helping other people. So it's just interesting how this journey unfolds, but the universe definitely helps us in this process and gives us inspiration and shows us that next step. I always say I'm following breadcrumbs, I'm following the next step, and it's an amazing way to live. We don't have to know it all. We just keep moving.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. It's really about making sure that we dream big enough, like you were saying, that we don't know all of the steps, but it's the actions. It's the actions that create our lives. So whatever those steps look like, whatever that dream looks like for you, know that it's, unique to you. And it can be anything, literally anything, like you said, fly to the moon, or maybe, just be in a better place than I am today, personally. And then start dreaming from there once you kind of accomplish that goal.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads us, I think, really well into our tip. Once you have your big goal, not something that you know exactly how to accomplish, but whatever that looks like for you, then plan out the next or the first 3 steps that you're going to focus on, whatever that looks like. And once you complete those 3 steps, then plan the next 3 steps and keep repeating until you can say you have accomplished that, and look in awe, celebrate as to your dreams coming true.
Mm-hmm.
One small step at a time.
Beautiful. So that takes us into our live healthy in the body part of our framework. So when we talk about, like I shared a little bit, the dream to have a healthy, fully restored body so that we can live life to the fullest, that is a huge, innate desire and longing. And, people would give anything to have their health back, right? We know people like that. We want to be able to live to the fullest and not cut our life short. So having a healthy body and being fully optimally functioning is a dream that's possible. And it's one that many people have and maybe don't even think of it as a dream. But when we have that health, we can travel, play with our grandchildren, pursue passions without being limited by the illness. So in order to do all that, we do, like Tish said, we need to focus small, because we can't just wave a magic wand and then all our cells are healed and our tissues is healthy and our organs are optimally functioning. We have to start somewhere. And unfortunately, our culture and our food industry has, really led us astray in the wrong direction on what it means to take care of this body, and then gives us that disempowering message that, oh, well, now it's just what it is. And you just got to accept that you're going to have failing health. And that's just life, and we'll just have to endure it and get through it. And there's so much unnecessary suffering, because having a healthy body is so doable and such an option in this culture that, to be able to dream that it's not really a dream, it's actually a reality, but it's something we can put into that framework and say, I'm going to pursue this one step at a time. And there's enough clarity to do that. So that would be my invitation for you today.
In reality, no matter what your dream is, health is going to be a part of it, whether you explicitly detail that or not. We need to be around. We need to have energy to take these actions that we're talking about. So we also, again, in another previous discussion, talked about how this is literally a non-negotiable game. So if you are honest with yourself, being healthier is part of your big goal, your dream life, one way or another.
Yeah. If we don't make time for health, we have to make time for illness, as the saying goes. So, and it's an invitation. And this too, that kind of leads into my tip. When we think about one non-negotiable health action that we can take, and, we say for, the next 30 days, but I would say just indefinitely, because the body's going to need these things indefinitely. So why not jump in and just make a decision, kind of like an executive decision that I'm done talking myself out of health and kind of comparing myself to other people. I know people do that. They'll say, well, I'm eating better than the average person. And I'm like, well, that's not a very high standard, because the average person hasn't been taught how to eat very well, right? And so they're living with that fallout from those decisions and those habits. And we can just take charge of them and change them. But it can be as simple as drinking enough pure water every day, taking targeted whole food supplements that are going to strengthen and rebuild that body over time with the work like what I do. Adding a 15-minute movement routine each morning, getting in a routine. If we walk 15 minutes, or even you could even walk up and down the stairs or do jumping jacks or jump rope, or, there's so many things we can do just simply to get our body moving and our lymph system moving, our blood moving. And then even the deep breathing that we've talked about on a lot of our calls, that is so critical. Like oxygen, right, is our go-to for living. It's the thing that we need the most of. So making an intention to really bring that into the body is huge. So I really think taking that one action and then being accountable to someone. We were just talking about this earlier, that without accountability, all of us fail, I believe. I mean, I think accountability is a natural, innate desire that we all have. Like, left to ourselves and our own mindset, we'll talk ourselves out of it, because we are programmed to live in the path of least resistance and the most comfortable place. So having someone just texting and saying, I'm tempted to grab that piece of cake, kind of give me some redirection here, or, we're just knowing that someone's depending on us to make the right choice for our best interest, makes a huge difference. And it's so simple nowadays with texting and whatever. We can just reach out in a second and get that feedback. It takes about a minute out of each person's day to keep us on the straight and narrow, on the right path. So yeah, that would be my encouragement for you today, to just make that next step and make an executive decision to do something for yourself, and not immediately think that you're not going to follow through, because you can, and you have in the past in different areas, and you can do it in this one too.
One of the ways I just shared with you that my partner and I have done this next small step that we decided on to encourage each other in a lot of our goals is to be accountable to each other, in that if one of us suggests something healthier or a good habit, whether that be to journal, to go to bed a little bit earlier, to put away the comfort food that we are currently enjoying and eat a little bit less, whatever that is, in just being reminders and accountable to each other, that if one person suggests it, the other one, unless you have a really solid reason not to, then you obey. And you know, it's been working. It's been helping. You're like, oh, okay, yep, I'm going to do this, even though I didn't feel like it and I didn't think about it. But because we've become accountable to each other and we've agreed together to, work on our goals, including our health goals, then it's working. We're doing more than what we would have done on our own. So I agree with you. Figure out what those small steps are, and accountability definitely helps. That's just one more way that we can get to our goals faster.
Yeah, that's
You
brilliant.
don't have to do it by yourself.
Mhm.
And that leads us into our last section, which is the soul realm, or how to live free. This is where we want to encourage you to dream. This is where the daydreaming is encouraged, because keep sparking those interests, those things that are like inspiring you. Even if we don't always go after them, but I want to encourage you to go after them by suggesting that this is our higher selves communicating with us. This is, our higher purpose coming through, and whether that be, the God, the universe, etc. This is our guidance system, our souls, the energy that we are part of, that's encouraging us to live our best life. Think about all of the crazy inventions that have been made. They wouldn't have been made without some kind of daydream and inspiration of something that didn't exist before. Even how we're giving you this talk right now, and we're able to, speak to so many people and hopefully influence their lives through amazing creations that somebody dreamed about once and that our world needed. The second part that I want to talk about in living free is that we also need to have faith. We need to believe in ourselves and this beautiful world that we live in. We talked in discussion number 26, actually the one we just did previous to this one, in that the how is none of our business. And that's where the faith comes in, that if your dream seems so huge, we need to trust these messages and just keep working towards them, because the powers that be are working for us. This is why we don't always need to know everything, that we can trust and have faith and just take a couple of steps at a time, little small focuses that will lead us, and we can keep being inspired by those dreams and having faith so that we can have everything that we potentially desire.
Mhm. Yeah, I think one thing that really helped me with this dreaming thing, because I didn't grow up dreaming, that wasn't allowed. It was practical, do hard work. You got to work hard. If you don't do this, you won't have that. It was just very structured and very direct. Dreaming was actually kind of forbidden. It was like kind of laughed at or joked about because it just seemed like a dream. Like, we had to survive, and it took practicality to survive. I used to pride myself in being so truthful and so honest and such a realist. And now I just laugh because I don't want to be a realist in my own mind. I want to be a dreamer, and to allow myself, because those, like I said, those innate things that come up from my soul are just messages. If I'm listening, yeah, there are things that light me up. Like last discussion I shared, I realized how much I love being around animals. And so I'm thinking I'm going to set the intention to find creative ways to be around more animals, whatever that is. And now that I put out that intention, things will come across my path, and it'll be like a connection, so it's really cool to give ourselves permission to dream and lean into the things we love, because if we're doing what we love, we're just a healthier version of ourselves. We're better for everyone around us. We're not having that kind of what we talk about, the midlife crisis, where I think that's really was designed by divine intelligence, that when we get to that point and we're not living in our truth and our purpose and what we really love, we're kind of getting feedback. We're getting a wake-up call that we're not happy, we're not fulfilled, there's something not in alignment here. So I just really listen into that intuition and give yourself permission, no matter how grand or how small. It's okay to play and have fun and follow things that make us happy, even if they don't seem practical or logical, or like they seem really off, I think of Elon Musk, and his ability to dream is like unfathomable. This guy, he's living out on Mars in his mind. And that just seems so incredible. But he doesn't care what people think. He's going to dream it anyway. He's going to keep taking steps in that direction. And so that kind of thing inspires me. There are no limits, like you said. If we thought we were limited, we wouldn't have airplanes and technology. So
I think this is a good place also to mention that, for me, it took a little bit while to figure out what I wanted. I'd been so busy doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And, I read some stats recently about how we sort of lose our creativity as we get older and become adults because we sort of get used to conforming.
Mhm.
And, like you said, people laugh at you when you think of some crazy thing that, no one's ever heard of before, that's ridiculous. Well, we need to keep moving towards that. And it's okay too to give yourself some grace that if you're not used to that, if you didn't grow up in a household where those things were encouraged, or you find yourself in a midlife crisis where, all of a sudden people around you are telling you you're being irrational for having some crazy dreams or wanting, to do something outside of the box, then just give yourself some grace, sit with yourself a little bit more, and what those dreams really mean for you. It's okay if it takes some time to kind of mold those and be able to listen to your heart and quiet the noise to what those dreams look like and what your life is really meant to be.
Yeah, amen. Beautiful.
And that leads me to the tip in keep dreaming, then use small steps, or the smoke focus small tips that we're giving you to plan out one small step at a time, or a couple small steps at a time, and hold the faith that you are making your dream world your real world, one little piece at a time, one action at a time.
Yes, and we have an entire friendly universe to help us, which is the whole point. It's like we couldn't do it on our own. We think about the Wright brothers and Thomas Edison, different people. They have documented history about them, and they would say they would get these downloads just from out of nowhere. Like they didn't know how to do all this, but they would get that clarity and inspiration. Well, that came from a higher intelligence. That gave them those one more thing to try. To get that breakthrough. So we have tons of help available to us in the non-physical and in the physical realm. The universe will align people and situations to benefit us and help us on that journey. So it's exciting to think that we have all this available to us, and we just need to become aware of it and tap into it. So in summary, I'm just going to go through the 3 frameworks and then summarize. So the mind, living empowered, we talked about once we have a big goal that we could just spend all day dreaming about, we need to take some action steps like Tish mentioned. And, and also to have accountability, I'll add that in there just because we talked about if we don't have accountability, most of us won't follow through with things. That's just the way we're designed. In the body, we have big health dreams that aren't built in a single leap. So we're really creating one consistent choice at a time instead of just waiting for things to get worse where we're forced to do something. By then, there's a lot of damage and degeneration in the body. We want to be proactive and keep ourselves in a state of, viability and just having a much better quality of life. And in the soul realm, the dreams that keep sparking our interest, this is our higher self communicating our higher purpose. If we don't lean into that purpose, we'll just always feel unrest or unfulfilled, or we'll know that we're not quite, we're not living the way we could. And so I say that our dream is not just a goal, it's an expression of our soul's calling. So listen and have fun, with your dreams, and realize that we all have a right to dream, and we're all worthy of, living out that experience, because that's why we came.
So if you want help with this, then that actually is what we offer to our clients within our respective businesses, is encouraging people to dream, giving you those accountability partners in our elite mentorship forum.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. When we talk about accountability, we have such a cool way of walking people through that process, and just consistent interaction and discussion. We have a buddy system. So you have a buddy for the entire time every week. We have calls every week. So when you're never left just trying to navigate and figure this stuff out, but it's actually embodying it. So through this process, we were just talking earlier, we've gone through the process several times, and every time we just get so much more clarity, so much more support, and we change. We get to different levels every single time, and it's always fascinating to see it unfold. And so it's just that I talked to someone yesterday that I hadn't seen in a long time, and was been challenged for a long time with health in different areas, but a lot of it is mindset. And I just realized how different I am than when I knew this person 15 years ago. Like I just have such a vibrant positivity and knowing about a friendly universe that I live in, and I don't yeah, I'm not having those conversations of living a whole lifetime with struggle and limitation like I used to. So it's just a massive contrast. It was really interesting to see that. So yeah, I think with that, I'll just share the quote here before we end. And it is, dream big enough to inspire you, but focus small enough to actually move you. And that is by Peter Sage.
Excellent. So thank you very much for listening to our call today, and we hope to see you next time.